Let's talk about phase one though, your driving. There are 24 cues that they look for, and it's actually cues and not clues, but everybody thinks of it as a clue that they're looking for. But there's 24 clues whenever they're observing your driving that they're trained to look for. Anybody have any idea what some of those are? I can throw some.
Seatbelt.
Yours was seatbelt? Well, that's actually not one of the things that they're trained to look for, but as far as a DUI driver.
Well, swerve.
Swerving,
Weaving.
weaving,
Failure to maintain lane.
failure to maintain lane. Some of the other ones are something as obscure as appearing to be impaired. I talked with an officer out of Atlanta I did most of his work up on 400 in Atlanta, and he said he pulled up at a stoplight one day, looked over and said there was a driver over there with the hands on the wheel, cigarette in his mouth that had burned all the way up to the filter. Light turned green, driver just sat there. Ash just hanging on that cigarette, and the cigarette just hanging on his lip. That was his reason for stopping him, because he appeared to be impaired. So this driver, who didn't do anything necessarily wrong, but that's what he was stopped for. That's how he wound up getting a DUI. You've got other things like turning with a wide radius. Now, that was the #1 reason in the Atlanta area for stopping people at one period of time. And you have to understand, turning with a wide radius is up to the judgment of the officer. It's kind of like weaving. It's up to the judgment of the officer. A majority of times when I see videos of people who've been stopped for DUI, the driving is not that bad. You don't notice anything that I probably wouldn't do on my way to work in the morning. You don't notice anything that normal drivers do, but in the state of Georgia, you're required to drive arrow straight down the road. If you don't maintain an equal distance from the center lane to the white fog line, you have weaved within your own lane, basically, and they can pull you over. Now, turning abruptly or illegally. Now, that's something that comes up a lot of times in roadblock cases, because people will see a roadblock and they'll just turn off on the first street they see. Well, if they don't use their blinker, that's an illegal turn. They can go pull you over and stop you. All right? Now, you might find this a little unusual, but in Georgia, it's not illegal to see a roadblock and say, I don't really want to go through it, I don't have time for it, I'm going to turn my blinker on, I'm going to slow down, I'm going to wait for oncoming traffic to pass, and I'm going to turn and go down this road. That's not illegal. However, if law enforcement sees you do that, most of the time they're going to run you down and stop you. But it's still not anything that you can't use to defend yourself when you come to court, if you know what you're doing and you got somebody that's willing to defend you. Another thing that I've seen recently is headlights. People either don't turn them on when they're supposed to, or they're fumbling with the controls and they turn them off and then flip them back on again. Well, you know, that's might as well wave a red flag at a state patrolman, because he's going to stop you. Now, after these 24 cues that they're looking for, and like I say, there's tons of them. Can you think of something that most people would consider a cue that they would look for? A lot of people get stopped for speeding. Do you think that's a cue that they're supposed to look for? Speeding is not. Speeding is not a cue. When you think about it, if you're stopped for speeding and nothing else, no weaving, no reckless driving, no failure to maintain, if you're stopped only for speeding, it takes more coordination to drive faster than the speed limit, right, safely, because you didn't receive any other violation, safely than it does to drive the actual speed limit. So your coordination has to be better. Your eye-hand coordination is better. Your depth perception is better. All of your reactions have to be faster to do that. So speeding is not an indicator.